Here is a somewhat recently extinct animal that you may or may not have heard of, the great auk. This is the great auk. It was a type of sea and shorebird that used to be very, very abundant. It could be found on the coastal shores and waters of the Atlantic, all the way from Canada on the east coast, up through Iceland and Greenland, all the way over to Europe as far down as Italy, as well as in Scandinavia and the United Kingdom. For most of their existence, going back as far as the Neanderthals, they were very, very important for humans, both culturally and as a food source. People ate them and their eggs and used their bones in many things such as clothes, jewelry, and as ceremonial objects. Now, for a long time, for most of their existence, they were hunted sustainably, so the populations were not under any significant threat. However, in Europe, they became very, very popular for down stuffings of pillows, as well as being hunted for sport. So between those two factors, the European populations very, very quickly began to decrease. By the mid-1500s, the European populations were almost all gone, and that led to the great auks being one of the very first somewhat, at least, protected species in Europe, and it didn't work very well. People did still hunt them quite a lot, but I guess the thought was there. And in the mid-1700s, a couple hundred years later, people were banned from killing them, which did not help. People did still kill them. Now, the population, especially the European population, and now the American population, when settlers began to go there more frequently, they began to decrease quite a lot. And in 1835, one of the last remaining colonies was discovered, a decently large one. However, when that was made public, many, many people, including collectors for museums and stuff, quickly flocked over there and decimated the colony to be able to get specimens for collections, which is rather counterproductive if you don't think. And the last verified true living pair were unfortunately killed along with their egg in 1844 because people suck. There have been a couple more unverified sightings up until the 1850s, but the last confirmed sighting was in 1844 and people killed them. Now, it is very, very unfortunate that a bird that used to be so abundant on both sides of the Atlantic decreased in population so dramatically because people don't know how to control themselves and use resources sustainably. But there is discussion going on currently about reviving the population because there are still quite a few preserved samples that potentially would have viable DNA, so through cloning technologies it may be possible to revive this species. However, that is still under debate about the ecological impacts of that, about the ethics of that, and the mechanics of that. However, it may be a possibility in the future that this bird will be revived.